I never imagined my life could fracture so suddenly, so violently over the people I trusted most. What began with a missing piece of jewelry spiraled into something darker than I could have ever prepared myself for. Betrayal, obsession, and secrets that had been festering in silence came roaring into the light, threatening to destroy the very foundation of my family. This isn't just a story about friendship gone wrong. It's about how fragile safety really is, how love can be twisted into something unrecognizable, and how one lie can unravel everything. It all began in a quiet town on the edge of West Haven. My childhood home was the kind of place where neighbors waved from their porches and everyone seemed to know each other's names. I grew up believing nothing bad could seep into the walls of that house. But evil doesn't always come in the form of strangers lurking in alleyways. Sometimes it sits across the dinner table. Sometimes it sleeps under the same roof. And sometimes it wears the familiar smile of your very best friend. For as long as I can remember, Clara was that friend for me. We met in elementary school, bonded instantly, and never drifted apart. She was the kind of girl who made me laugh until my stomach hurt, who showed up at my door with snacks during late-night study sessions, who knew my secrets better than I knew them myself. She was woven into every corner of my life. My parents treated her like another daughter. I thought I could trust her with anything. But trust can be deceptive. The first crack appeared one weekend when my mother accused Clara of stealing a pair of her rings. They weren't particularly valuable, but they carried sentimental weight. My mother swore she had left them on her dresser, and now they were gone. When she confronted Clara, the look on her face was one I'll never forget. Shock that melted into hurt. She denied it fiercely, almost desperately, and I felt a surge of anger toward my mother. How could she accuse my best friend? But days later, while searching for something else, my mother found the rings in the back of her jewelry box, exactly where she had left them. She hadn't even apologized to Clara before she moved on. At first, I brushed it off as a careless mistake, but something about the way my mother looked at Clara after that stayed with me. Suspicion lingered in her eyes, sharp and unspoken. I thought it would pass. I was wrong. One afternoon, my mother called me into her bedroom. Her expression was grim, almost sickened. On the bed, she laid down a small notebook, its pink cover decorated with childish stickers. Clara's diary. My mother claimed she had found it tucked under a pile of clothes in the guest room where Clara often slept during sleepovers. My stomach twisted as I opened it, my eyes darting across the pages. At first, it looked like the diary of any teenage girl. Scribbled secrets, complaints about school, doodles in the margins. But then the tone shifted. Page after page filled with disturbing entries about my father. Fantasies that grew darker, more obsessive. Descriptions of sneaking into my parents' room at night, standing over their bed and watching them sleep. Notes about wanting to drug me so she could be alone with him. Words that made my skin crawl, written in Clara's unmistakable handwriting. I remember slamming the diary shut, my heart racing so hard I thought I might pass out. My mother's face was pale as she whispered, "This is why I don't trust her. This is why I tried to warn you." But denial is powerful. I wanted to believe Clara was incapable of this, that maybe it was some twisted joke or a story she was writing or anything other than the truth. Yet the truth refused to stay hidden. A few weeks later, I started experiencing strange symptoms, drowsiness at odd times, headaches, moments where hours blurred together like smudged ink. My mother insisted on having my drinks tested after one of our sleepovers. The results confirmed it, traces of sedatives. Clara had been slipping pills into my soda, my tea, anything she could reach when I wasn't looking. The betrayal hit me like a physical blow. The person I trusted most in the world had been drugging me under my own roof. When confronted, Clara broke down. She didn't deny it. She claimed she was in love with my father, that he had encouraged her, that he wanted her too. She painted herself as the victim of temptation, of feelings too strong to resist. My father's silence that day was deafening. He denied nothing, confirmed nothing. His face was unreadable, his words carefully chosen. My mother, furious, screamed at him to tell the truth, but he stayed evasive, never fully admitting, never fully clearing himself. His silence was almost worse than a confession. From there, everything spiraled. My mother contacted the police. Evidence was collected, the sedatives, the diary, photos Clara had taken without my consent, even nanny cam footage showing her creeping into my parents' bedroom at night. The case quickly expanded from betrayal to obsession to criminal behavior. Clara faced charges of harassment, stalking, and assault. But justice doesn't erase trauma. I found myself trapped in a cycle of disbelief and grief. Therapy became my lifeline. My therapist told me I was experiencing dissociation, numbness, detachment from reality, a survival mechanism for trauma. She encouraged me to face the pain instead of burying it. But how do you face the knowledge that your best friend drugged you and may have been entangled with your father? Forensic investigators dug deeper, retrieving deleted messages from my father's phone. They revealed late-night texts between him and Clara. Some were vague, some flirtatious, and at least one undeniable, an admission that they had kissed. When I saw the evidence, I felt like I was falling through ice. My father, my protector, had crossed a line I couldn't comprehend. He admitted to a kiss, to inappropriate messages, but swore it had never gone further. My mother didn't believe him. I didn't know what to believe. The fallout was brutal. Clara was served a restraining order, though she violated it more than once, showing up near our house, sending letters, trying to contact my father. My mother filed for separation, and my father moved out. The community whispered behind our backs, half believing Clara's side of the story, half painting my family as liars. Through it all, I kept going back to one haunting thought. If my mother hadn't found that diary, how much further would Clara have gone? How much deeper could my father have betrayed us? Months passed. Therapy helped slowly. I rebuilt myself piece by piece, learning how to breathe without feeling the weight of betrayal crushing my chest. My mother stood by me, fierce in her anger, but unwavering in her love. My father faded into the distance, a ghost of the man I thought I knew. In the end, what was left wasn't the family I once had, or the friendship I once cherished. It was something quieter, harder, but perhaps stronger. I learned that safety isn't always guaranteed, that betrayal can come from the most unexpected places, but also that healing is possible, even from wounds that cut this deep. And if there's one thing I want anyone listening to take away from my story, it's this: never ignore the small cracks. Trust your instincts, even when they hurt, because sometimes the people closest to us are the ones we need to guard ourselves against.